This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, and insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 277 Aussie Mac Zone, and have we got a surprise for you tonight? Garth, how are you, mate?
It's lucky you just said a surprise and not a good surprise. How are you, fellas? It's been forever.
It's been forever. Yes.
Where have you been for my life?
Been missing out, that's where we've been.
Hang on, it's me that hasn't been turning up, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Welcome back, son. And
look, as soon as you blokes sort out your clocks and get it all fixed up and work out how to, tell the time.
You want the rest of us to be like California, don't you? Where they ban daylight saving time.
Sounds bloody brilliant to me. Once we get out of this daylight saving zone, it'll be easier for me to get in here a little bit more often.
Yeah. You bloody Queerlanders, I don't know. But anyway.
Cockroaches.
Hi, Zarn. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm great, guys. How are you? Thank you for including me in that conversation.
We were getting there.
I remember you.
How you doing, Garth? Good to have you back, mate.
Cheers, Alice.
Now, tonight, we're brought to you by IT Help to You and Audio.Pizza on iTunes. So our... Yeah?
No, I was just going to say you are.
Our Aussie Apple ramblings. So, pardon me, Spotify versus Apple. Now, Spotify last week announced it filed an antitrust complaint against Apple with the European Commission over unfair App Store practices. Apple responded 2 days later, labelling the complaint as as misleading rhetoric and arguing that Spotify wants all the benefits of a free app without being free. Now, the war of words has since continued. In a statement issued on Variety, Spotify said every monopolist will suggest they have done nothing wrong, and that consequently Apple's response was entirely in line with its expectations. So,
Okay.
I'm quite happy for Spotify to make their own phone, sell their own phone, and go through all that practice. I'm quite happy for him to do that.
Yep.
Isn't that what I'm supposed to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. There's there's a little bit each way on this one, isn't there? Surely.
Yes, but
yeah. But this is Aussie Mac Zone, not Spotify Mac Zone.
Well, that's right.
Aussie Spotify Zone. So. Yeah.
But I think.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that. Only from what I've read so far, and what did they do at the European Commission, where they've changed their laws recently? Why didn't they do it in the States? Spotify's actually, now that I think about it, it's a Danish company or something, aren't they? Swiss or Spotify?
Netherlands, maybe. I'm not sure, but somewhere over there, yeah.
Same place as Napster. Sorry.
Got Deezer from Germany too, which is... I don't know. They all seem to have... I can't remember who's bought who these days.
Mm-hmm. So, or they could... What about if they chose not to have an app at all, Spotify, and did it all through the web?
Yeah, look, the biggest problem I have, and I don't have any problem whatsoever with Apple charging their 30, and then reducing it to 15. And I think Spotify has had a bit of a golden road anyway, with that being 15 for quite a long time before it was offered. Like Netflix did, and a few of the big companies. Yeah. But the one, like everything Apple say, I think is pretty much right on, except for not allowing them to link out of the app to their own website. And
why not?
That also seems inconsistent.
Why? They don't let Audible do it.
Well, that's right. They don't let any company.
Why should it be any different for these guys?
Sometimes they do. I've got an app that I can go within the app and purchase a subscription-based product or add additional cost. So what are they? They're just somehow side swiping. I don't know what's going on. It's inconsistent.
And you don't think Apple are getting any money out of that purchase?
No. Apple will only get money out of it if you do an in-app purchase, which this is not. This is a link out of the app to the web-based. Put in your Visa card.
Yeah.
It's not an in-app purchase.
Can you name the app, or you don't want to?
Well, yeah, okay. It's Ira. It's
Yep.
yeah. But Audible don't do it. Netflix, you can't do it with Netflix. It's all got to be in-app purchases so that you're going through their payment platform.
Yeah.
And I think the value Apple brings, one is the audience, right?
Yep.
Two is the trust in the store.
Yep.
So I don't have to put my credit card into some weird web store that I don't really trust.
You don't know about. Yep.
Yeah. So if like Audible, I guess in the Spotify app, it does say something like you can go online and purchase this.
Yeah.
Because they can do that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like,
I think
with Audible, we only talked about this last week. I can put something on my wish list. And then I go in online. I can just do it straight from my phone as well, like, and purchase it, go back in, and it's there. It's not hard to do. Like, it is a pain in the bum because you're right. I'd rather just be able to do an in-app purchase and know that I'm doing it through iTunes and that sort of thing. But
well, and Audible could allow that to happen, right? They just would want to give up the 15%.
Yeah, they just don't want to give up that, and
which is fine.
Is it though? Like, Amazon make a shitload of money. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
Amazon might be, but is the Audible branch? Is the Audible? I don't think with any of these streaming services there isn't that much margin.
Yeah,
like, none of them can afford to pay the 15%. There is not that margin.
Audible's
doesn't
still Amazon, so it might be. It might have many faces, but it's still under the same hat.
Yeah, but we're talking about all streaming services.
Yeah, but each department's got to make their own profit, mate.
Yeah, you can't just go, oh, well, that's part of a big company, so it doesn't work like that.
Well, it does, but we'll get to that later.
There is not. I don't think there's any margin, for Spotify for any of these ones. There's limited margin in there. There's no way they could give up 15%. If Apple was saying, hey, you know what, we're like Amex, we'll take 5%. We're expensive Amex. We're expensive credit card, because that's what they're providing mostly. They'll provide that platform and that audience to anybody for nothing, but they won't provide the payment thing.
Yeah.
And I think over time, if they brought in additional tiers, they start off at the 30%. That's the typical thing, right? You get down to your 15%, and if there were additional tiers at 5%, something like that. Or if they simply allowed the app to have out to Safari, that's all. And I mean, that's the only bit that leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth from Apple's perspective.
I don't see the problem. I really don't.
All right.
Yeah.
That's one of Apple's legal challenges going on at the moment. Yeah.
It's going to hang on 2 seconds. It's okay. So it's like me. No, it doesn't matter. We'll leave it. It's fine. Yeah, Michael.
All right. Okay, so I've got another different branch of story. Over 2,000 participants received a regular heart rhythm notification in Apple Watch study. Now, Stanford medicine researchers presented their findings of the Apple Heart study at the American College of Cardiology's 68th annual scientific session and expo in New Orleans last week, as noted in an Apple press release. Now, Apple and Stanford created the study to evaluate the Apple Watch's irregular heart rhythm notification feature, which occasionally checks the wearer's heart rhythm in the background and sends a notification if an irregular heart rhythm appears to be suggestive of arterial fibrillation. Now, 419,000 people across the states participated in the study. Now, as part of the study, if an irregular heart rhythm was identified, participants received a notification on their Apple Watch and iPhone, a phone consultation with a doctor, and an ECG patch for additional monitoring. Study results showed 0.5% of participants, which is approximately 2,000 people, received an irregular heart rhythm notification. And Apple says many participants sought medical advice following their irregular rhythm notification. So 0.5%, that's a lot when you're talking about a lot of people, which is the best part of it. You know, having, what do we have? 419,000 people, which is great. And it's it was a free study. You just have to own a watch. And we got 0.5% of people that needed to be checked.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I'll let you rant first. Zarn this time.
No. I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
And anything to
why
do
is it good?
with.
Okay.
Sorry, go.
To me, this story misses the main point.
Yeah.
Like, it tells part of the story, but it misses, like, and maybe, you know, we can see the data and we'll get, but the story misses the main point, which is, so, okay, it's great. We identified only 0.5% of participants actually got a notification, which allays those fears that we initially heard from a lot of the medical community when the Apple Watch was first, started talking about all the health, this sort of stuff. When Apple started talking about that with respect to the watch, there's going to be people panicking and blah, 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 all these false positives and thing. We only got 0.5% of people, which to me says, cool, we didn't have a mass, we didn't do a mass, we didn't induce hysteria.
Yes. Yeah.
But what we didn't, the bit that we didn't then find out of, okay, of that 0.5%, clinically when they were followed up, like what percentage were false positives versus what percentage, actually needed some medical intervention. Now we might find, and if the thresholds are set anything very, in a sensible way, you might find that only 20% of that 0.5 actually needed medical intervention.
Yeah.
Or 50%, or surely it wouldn't be 80 because then you'd be letting people slip through the cracks too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's to me the main point of this. The bit I wanted to keep reading to and find was, okay, of that small proportion that we highlighted, hey, something's going on, dude. How many of them actually had something going on?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we probably need to find the medical documentation that they did the report on and go from there. Yeah.
That's a really good point, by the way, Garth. I really like that.
It's missing from the story.
Yeah. But still, the advantage of, having 419,000 participants, as opposed to, maybe previous to this, they might have had 1,000 participants in a study,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just getting those numbers up is awesome,
Absolutely. And that's something that all of these efforts Apple are making towards health is that's a huge advantage they have, is the sheer numbers.
The sheer numbers, that's right.
It's still not a universal, like, it's Apple, it's people who can afford to buy Apple products. So it's not the whole population. It's not representative of the entire population.
That's correct.
But for the population that it does represent, it represents it very, very well.
Yes.
But if we say, all right, well, if you're worried about someone, maybe now doctors are aware 0.5% of the population have this problem. You know what I mean? So we need to that's one thing extra we need to check, as opposed to, whatever the figure was before in relation to it. So that's pretty good, I think. In the long run, it must help us.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I just really wish the story had that last little bit in it.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree with Garth. I think it would have been excellent if it did have that last little bit in it. I like this because I watch a lot of Star Trek. And we're getting closer and closer to the scanners that they have in Star Trek Next Gen and stuff like that. They can tell you what's wrong with you.
I can tell you what's wrong with you, Zarn.
Yeah.
Too much Star Trek. A reminder this week, we are brought to you by IT Help to You, just a small little Apple-based support company. So if you ever need any help, look up www.ithelptoyou.com.au and send me a message, ask some questions. I've got some questions later on to bring into it. So, Garth, you have a story.
Well, actually, I reckon you should find the story yourself. Can you do me a favour?
Yeah.
Go to apple.com. You've probably been there once or twice before.
Yeah.
We'd hope so.
Oh, no, hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, I don't know. Come on. No, I had got a notification that the Apple store was down amidst rumours of new iPads and AirPods.
Saw.apple.com.
But I'm thinking this... I'm just going to try and see if...
It is down. It is down.
So...
I've gone to store.apple.com.
Yeah.
And it says, be right back. We are making updates to the Apple Store. Check back soon.
So I think this... let's just keep checking back for the rest of this episode. Maybe.
Yep.
We might we might not just miss the boat for once.
All right. So I've put that page down there where I can see it while we're chatting.
Awesome.
Let's
hope it loads while we're here.
Oh. You know what? I've got a birthday coming up very soon, and some new AirPods just sound like something that I need in my life.
Sorry, Garth. We had you, but we've lost you, mate. What'd you say?
Okay. Oh, I've got a birthday.
Oh, you're back now, Garth.
Oh, that's all right. Never mind yet. Oh, good.
I said I've got a birthday coming up very soon. Oh, geez. All right, I give up. I'm out.
Now, Apple offers a peek behind the curtain of GarageBand development and loop creation. Now, to celebrate 15 years of GarageBand, Apple has offered a behind-the-scenes look at what went into the music creation tools production, as well as providing access to the media to the Music App Studio for the first time, revealing the amount of work that goes into producing all of its sounds and virtual instruments. And we will have a link to that background information on the show notes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's very cool. I really want to check that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right into it.
Yeah.
And 15. Can you believe 15 years of GarageBand? But
yeah. The not so much GarageBand, well, even in GarageBand, but in Logic, the virtual instruments and the sounds that come with that are fantastic.
Yeah. Now, I've got a couple of questions I'm hoping some magical person in our audience can help me out with. So I had two issues this week, and they're both based in Mojave. So my first one, Outlook calendar sharing. So if you load Mojave on your machine, Outlook calendar sharing stops working for other people randomly. Not every person. We're not sure whether it's something to do with the version of the server, because the big company that I'm having the issue with, they've got more than one Exchange server. But when the people have updated to Mojave, they'll lose their calendar sharing between Macs. They can get the Windows, the people sharing their Windows calendar, they can still see those, but they can't see Mac-to-Mac sharing.
Nice.
For Outlook calendar sharing. So that's my first question. Anybody got any ideas? Even to the point where because one of the suggestions was I archived that person's mail, etc., deleted the person altogether, restarted the machine, added the person back, and still had the same problem, like without importing all their data. So it was a clean new person. Their mail came in because it's on the Exchange machine, but it still wouldn't share the calendars. My second one, which is more to do with the MacBook Pro with Touch Bar, a new one, than specifically Mojave, because I use Mojave on this current MacBook Air that I'm using, and Zoom works fine. But there's security things now where in Mojave that the app, when it asks for permission to use the camera and the app asks permission to use the microphone,
Yep.
and you go into Apple menu, system preferences, security, and in there you give it permission to use the microphone and use the camera, and it says, here's a list of applications that have requested permission to use the microphone or the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom is not showing up in there on the Mac, on a MacBook Pro running Mojave, a MacBook Pro with Touch Bar running Mojave. And again, delete the user, delete all the caching for that app. If anybody's got any suggestions, I'm glad to take them on board, please.
And if they want to answer those questions, they can either message us on our Facebook page. They can message us where else, Michael?
Yeah. Aussie Mac Zone on Facebook, or Michael at ithelptoyou.com.au.
Yep.
Michael at Aussie Mac Zone, whatever.
Yep.
Because
awesome.
I've run out of ideas, to be honest. I haven't spoken to Zoom yet, and I haven't spoken to Microsoft, but it's just doing my head in.
Yep.
So like, yeah.
Now, boys, I've got some more Apple legals, so stay calm.
All right.
So, Apple violated 3 Qualcomm patents and should pay the chip maker $31 million for infringing on its technology, a jury decided last Friday, giving Qualcomm momentum as it heads into another legal skirmish with the iPhone maker next month. Qualcomm, which filed the suit on July 2017, alleged that Apple had used its technology without permission in some versions of its popular iPhone. The jury awarded Qualcomm the full amount it had requested at the start of the 2-week trial, which took place in San Diego. One disputed Qualcomm patent covers technology that lets a smartphone quickly connect to the internet once the device is turned on. Another deals with graphics processing and battery life. The third addresses technology that shifts traffic between a phone's apps processor and modem. Now, the $31 million in damages, or $1.41 per infringing iPhone, is a drop in the bucket for Apple, but it makes an important victory for Qualcomm, burnishing its reputation as a mobile components innovator. The win also lends credibility to the notion that much of the company's innovation is reflected in iPhones. So there you go. Qualcomm picked one up. I wonder what happens if they lose the next one and have to pay $60 million back to Apple.
Well, there'll be no more Qualcomm, will there?
No comment.
Yeah, sorry. No large rant on this one.
Nah. It's just keeping up to date with all the legal battles that Apple have. Being the biggest company in the world sort of thing does that to you, doesn't it? They've got so many.
I think they all sort of, when there's so much money in question, they all push their luck here, there, and everywhere, wherever they can, aren't they?
Yes. Now, Zarn, remember, again, sorry, man.
I'm so sorry.
A reminder this week, we are brought to you by Audio.Pizza on iTunes. Garth, how's that going? It's a famous little company.
I don't know that company.
Yeah.
There's some very good company on there. To be honest, I've been really slack of late. I haven't got much new content at all, except for the Audio Roundtable stuff.
Yeah.
And really, really pleased with how the Audio Roundtable stuff is going. And to hear that properly, you actually have to subscribe to not Audio Pizza, but the Audio Roundtable.
The Audio Roundtable.
The Audio Roundtable.
I'll put that in there.
Because we only put the outtakes and don't bleep out all the swearing and all that sort of stuff. That only goes in that feed. So the outtakes really are the funniest parts.
Excellent. Excellent. The Audio Roundtable. Now, Apple announces it's Showtime special event. What are you doing?
Playing with their microphone.
I just went to move it and it started growling at me. Sorry, guys. There you
Apple's next special event and their first keynote of 2019 is official, with Apple revealing the event will take place on March 25th, that's the 26th in Australia, at the Steve Jobs Theatre in Cupertino. What will be announced remains a mystery. However, there are a number of suggestions. Firstly, Apple has teased the event with the tagline, "It's showtime," alluding to movies and TVs. This makes sense when you factor in the already confirmed multi-year partnership with Oprah Winfrey. Apple has also confirmed several original TV shows and movies over the past year. All of this virtually confirms what has been long speculated, an Apple video streaming service.
Yes.
Well, what's that mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've heard a lot of the rumors around and there's so many announcements of this show's, the various, like you're saying, the deal with Winfrey, Oprah Winfrey, and various people.
We'll just call it the big O.
I am interested to see what they intend with this, because nothing really seems that. I think most of the rumors are saying all the Apple created content, and at least initially, is going to be given away free.
Yep.
And paid stuff is more likely to be, rebranded HBO or, on selling, that sort of packaging thing that the cable companies have been doing for years.
Yeah.
In the US, and in here for that matter, and for which this great streaming age has sort of killed. That's been the whole point of cord cutting, right? Is to get away from that monolithic one subscription for all your TV stuff.
Yes.
I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I want this, and I want that. So for Apple, a lot of what we're hearing about this upcoming service sort of tends to go back to the monolithic, we'll provide all your stuff. And obviously a lot of the other companies are not going to buy into that.
Yeah.
Because they've now worked out that they can do it themselves. They can create their own thing. So I'm really interested to see what this is actually going to look like.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone's got a really good grip on how they're going to make it something.
No, because they've kept that bit under their hat, haven't they? As how they're going to do it. We haven't had any leaks, which is the advantage of being an in-Apple thing. Now, the show will start at 4 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So we'll be all up and...
What time was that? Sorry?
4
3
a.m.
o'clock in the morning.
Excellent. Can't wait.
So...
I won't be there.
Now, also on this line, the Worldwide Developers Conference 2019 has also been announced.
Excellent.
It will be the 3rd to the 7th of June 2019. Tickets will cost US $1,599, and registration is open until the 20th of March, where you can then go into the barrel and see if your name gets drawn out.
Excellent.
So I figure Garth's probably going to that.
Oh no, I know. I've got an invite. They're going to fly me over for it, of course. But
yes,
you're taking the same plane we are, or
yeah, exactly. That's the one.
Yeah.
The one that's sort of,
So Zarn, you've got a story about Apple TVs.
I do. Well, Apple gaming actually. So it's been 3 months. We're into 2019.
Oxymoron.
And who's an oxymoron?
Apple gaming.
So it's been 3 months in, and so I've been looking around to see what are the better games you can play on your Apple TV in 4K, of course, because who doesn't want 4K? I know I do.
Most streaming companies.
That's right. Stan now is like 4K. You can watch all of Disney in 4K. Not that I watch it without the kids. I do not watch.
Never know.
Yeah, right up.
Never do that.
I'm definitely not watching Miley Cyrus by myself. Wait a minute, that sounded weird. So.
All right, I'm out. See ya.
He's going to watch it.
No, I haven't even got Stan. I'm halfway through the Harry Potter series again. So.
Oh, I'm always halfway through those. I love them. Anyway, back to where I'm going with this. So, on, give me a look. Where am I? On imore.com, they've listed the top 10 games in the 3 months of being 2019 that you can play, not just on your iPad or on your iPhone, but you can actually play them on Apple TV. And some of them are even compatible with the little Bluetooth controllers, so you can get that gaming feel and stuff like that. So we've got Crossy Road, which is a 8-bit game similar to like the 8-bit similar to. Hang on a second, I'm just going to get it up here and have a quick read about it. You can use a Siri remote as well, and which is, they say it's really good. It's good fun. It's an 8-bit similar to that silly block game that everybody loves. I can't remember the name of it because I can't stand it. There's Rayman Adventures, which I actually really like. Rayman Adventures is a little guy who is in the jungle, or he's just cool adventures. He gets killed and you come back. It's a level game similar to Mario, but better graphics. These days, actually probably not better graphics because there's just been a new Mario released, so I'm not going to say that. But it's fun. What else have we got on there? We've got Dungeon Hunter 5, AG Drive, which is a cool. AG Drive is cool. They're not cars. They're hovercraft, sort of futuristic vehicles that you magnetic sort of stuff, and it's very cool. Alto Adventures, you got Song Pop Party on there now, so everyone remembers the sing-alongs from the PS2 days and stuff like that, karaoke sort of stuff. Song Pop Party is sort of like that. You got Sketch Party TV as well. And what else we got? We got Lumia City Ocean Horn, which I don't know what that is. I should know, but I don't. But yeah, so they're just some of the games in the last 3 months that have been, sort of talked up and thought that are good to play on your Apple TV.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No
Thank
worries.
you. So, any guesses now? Because it still says at store.apple.com, be right back. So, any guesses what we confident it's going to be in a few minutes?
Yeah,
just after we close the show.
iPad and AirPods.
iPad and AirPods?
Redo of the cheap iPad, the one that still has the home button, headphone jack, the affordable 9.7 inch one, but in a 10.3, whatever, 10 point something inch model.
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty much the predominant rumor, I think? I'm saying all this as if I know, because, I have all the sources. No, I just read all the same news articles that everyone else reads. And the AirPods. This is what I want, is some new AirPods.
So what about the charging station?
My breath will not be held.
So how are you going to charge the new ones if you haven't got a charging station? How do you charge the new?
Just the same way I always have. Or put them on any of the other packs. Any of the other induction.
So put my new Apple AirPods on the new Samsung phone. Is that what you suggested?
No, putting it on. One of the what's that company name? I can't think. I don't know. I've run out. Just on any Qi charger.
Qi charger, that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, we're still stuck at Be Right Back on the Apple Store site, so they're not going to let us rave about it yet, are they? I'm stretching out as long as I can. It says Be Right Back. That's spelled BERIGHT BACK full stop. I'm still stretching. Still stretching.
Have we got any more stories to tell?
It's definitely not BEEWRIGHT.
It's definitely not.
It's probably got nothing to do with honey or.
It definitely doesn't have the little emoji that looks like a bee.
So, no. All right. Garth, awesome to have you back here again, my friend.
It really was.
Catch you up more often, yes.
Yeah, and as I said, once we get out of this daylight saving thing, I'll be able to get in here a little bit more often.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Zarn, thank you very, very much.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you to everybody, our listeners, the most important people, of course, our listeners. Thank you. And Zarn, over to you.
Well, normally I would, say something about Androids and Apples and that, but today I just want to say we send all our love and prayers and everything like that to the people in Christchurch that have lost family members in the mosque killings.
Absolutely.
So to them, we are sorry that it's happened and wish we could do more. So we're thinking of you at this time.